Welcome to Warblog. Today I'm going to look at what I'm calling the Makariv axis. It's deliberately quite sparse to sort of provide a bit of context. The key points really are this sort of place at which I should put as an objective, really that. We'll have a look at that in a bit, and this sort of space to map out, so we've got both of these because these are sort of the next places after Makariv, which isn't really that well held. So what we're looking at here is I got it from this, so you can sort of see where there's Kiev over here. Obviously, it's a lot better. I could have maybe done this one. What's this? Russian military has been able to move forward in advance on Ukraine's capital Kiev. Forward by about 10 meters, no doubt. So advanced to 3 miles from Kiev. So maybe I could do this one next. But anyway, this looks like they're trying to sort of get down these roads, and so I thought, well, where would they be trying to get to? And obviously Fastiv and Korostishiv. I was going to sort of call it the Fastiv Korostishiv axis. I don't really know what the meaning of axis is, or front or advanced, but it seems to me that there's a lot of open ground, and as I was sort of saying earlier, there's probably resistance in this sphere. Whether it's sort of a significant military body or just sort of the militias and just skirmishers, etc. So I had a quick look on Twitter, and it wasn't really anything really. I sort of scroll up. I mean, it's all going all the way back to the 7th, so it doesn't look as though it's particularly sort of active. Well, there's obviously some map here, but I don't think that really is showing us much. Picture of a rocket launcher thing. A dog, not looking particularly unmoved. Oh, I wonder how dogs, and maybe cats to some extent, consider the war, because they probably don't recognise order. They just see this as the new reality, and maybe after a bit of puzzlement, their normal smells have all gone. They'll probably get used to it straight away. This is peculiar because this sort of tank thing comes up, and there's apparently a couple of old pensioners in that car, but that's what we're told. Either way, there was someone probably driving it, and they're dead, so an armoured fighting vehicle versus a car. And there's a close-up of that car after it was blown up, and can't really see what's inside, but it looks like a person. It's very pixelated, but yeah, they definitely look like two old people. So that's not good. But that does seem like the only thing that's happened in Makariv. That video is sort of like repeated again and again. Elderly couple targeted. think this must be where he hid, in that cellar. Okay, that's the top. I won't refresh it. So anyway, that's sort of where I got that. I'll have a little open of it. So when you sort of bear in mind what it's sort of supposed to represent, I think the question here we're sort of saying is, well, what is this front? You know, what is happening around this Makariv area? Now we know that here a burnt tank on the Zhytomyr highway. Doesn't look like there's going to be much to see here. So that's that. So we'll have a look at this. So what I'm saying is sort of there isn't really a front line, so they've exploited down these roads. So you can sort of say, well, this is the road down to Fastive, and so obviously we can continue to exploit down that road. Now I didn't put any motorised in. I was going to do that, but I think I've doubled up on the mechanised. So we can sort of say, well, what would happen if we did that? Well, obviously what would start to happen is that we would get anti-tank fire. Now, the thing is, because it's our turn, we can sort of move forward. Now, I'm just doing this as devil's advocate, because obviously as he moves forward down this road, he's become more and more exposed with less and less support. Now, if we were to be doing this as an advance, there would be nothing left here. So, obviously, they can only really move until they start to meet some resistance, and we've got, sort of two mechanised units down there. We've got a mechanised unit there. I thought I had more than that. But anyway, so here we are up against an anti-tank unit. Let's just see. We could always fire some rockets at it first. 1.2, and then try and attack it across the river. They get a good defensive bonus because they're anti-tank, but let's see what happens. We've got 2 to 1, and because our combat ratio was reduced, I think, and we've got an exchange. So we've been held off. So this mechanised unit has been held off. They've both received some damage or depressions. And it's as simple as that. You see, that's the sort of nature of Warblog, and the sort of simulation as to that's quite plausible. We could sort of say that we have and that would be a company, so that might be 20 APCs, armored personnel carriers, and it reaches a bridge across a small river, a stream, but obviously it needs a bridge. It's probably about sort of, I don't know, 5 to 10 meters wide, and on the other side, embedded, not necessarily embedded, but just on the other side, with a strategic river and bridge before them, there's some small anti-tank units. These anti-tank units are used interchangeably. I always think, really, when I think of anti-tank units, I think of like a PaK 38, which is like a German gun, which was actually sort of very portable, but really good for putting in buildings and taking out tanks. But here I think we're looking more at these sort of big missile things that they've got, and all of that stuff. But either way, I think that was a fantastic simulation of how this sort of mechanized column was stopped by a small unit, even after some rocket fire. So what else have we got? Well, the thing is, we can't really afford to keep sort of doing that, but here we've got another unit. Now these might not fare so well, plus we've got two mechanized units. So maybe what we can do here is advance and plus get a flank and probably take out this mechanized unit. This anti tank unit. I'm not even going to bother with rockets. I'm pretty sure we'll get good odds or better odds. Yeah, 7-1. But we got the worst dice roll ever, so all they did was retreat. But we're mechanized, so we're mobile and fast, and we're going to definitely get a 7-1 this time again, which means we're probably less likely to get a 12. We get a 2, so we've got a DE, but they've retreated across this river. So, but they're 50% down now. So, and we've received basically no losses on that. So the anti-tank units are not very good in just basic open. There's a lot of this here. Maybe there are some fields or there's some sort of cover that I can put in there. But there's plenty of rivers. So we can say, well, are the rivers going to be strategic obstacles for the Russian advance? But we don't want to sort of what I'm sort of almost thinking here is there's the consideration of overextension, because we've got these units that can now sort of pounce on this. These have moved further away. We're sort of spreading out, but the game has not been sort of balanced, so maybe it will be easy for the Russians to just take everything. We'll see. So what else we've got here is the road along here to the next place. Now there should be maybe some other places in there, but to Korostishiv. So you might think that they're going to move down there. So what we've got armor here. So we've got 3 lots of armor. So it's quite a lot on its own, but they're quite powerful. So let's just move this way. Now what we can do, but we probably don't want to, is we can go around this and avoid this. And I think I'm going to do that because we don't want to attack him across the river. But if we move down here, then we can become surrounded by all these units. But I think it's going to be okay. And we've got 2 militia units, so we can probably take them out. Probably even with just 1 unit. But let's use some drones on them first. Let's use 2 drones on these militia units. And let's go in with our 1 company of armoured units. And we eliminate them. 6-1 odds. We eliminate 1 and the other one retreats. So the other one's retreated to their 3.8. And we've still got some movement. So the armour is fairly powerful and it gets multipliers against infantry on its own. So the infantry might well do to stack up with the anti-tank because the armour gets negatives against the anti-tank. So, but again, we're pushing the sort of, the risk of suddenly becoming overextended and having a lot more units be able to sort of come down on us, but we're just playing for a short while. So let's follow on, see what we can do with an overrun. So we destroyed 2 militia units, but they are just militia units. We've got some more armour, but what it might be nice to do is to come around this river here and to take out this anti-tank unit. Well, let's use some rockets on it first. No effect. Okay, there's a waste. So we've got 7-1. We've got a DR on that. Still got some movement, so we can push them back. And we've eliminated it. So the Russians are really sort of pummeling, but we're extended now. So we've got this other armoured unit. And the question is really, what do we want to do with it? And I think we might leave it like that. And what we could do is try and bring something across to create as much of a front line there as we can. So let's see how far this unit can go. We'll leave him there. We'll bring some rockets over to bear on this. Bring some rockets here, a little nearer the front. Let's bring this armour down here. Okay, so we've got this reserve here. So we've got a front line building up there. So we've really sort of advanced quite a lot. So what do I want to do with this? Well, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's bring 3 down this way. Giving us a nice line. And place these units there. We seem to have a lot of Russians. This isn't quite how I thought it would be. I thought it would be a lot more spread out. Right, but we've got some drones. And I think the thing to do with the drones might be to target this militia block here, or we could try this. Let's just try and blow these mechanized units up. No effect. If I get no effect again, I'm going to go shot down. Okay, that wasn't good. So that was another example of a Twitter sort of photo opportunity, because although the Russian drones were not doing anything, they were failing, and one got shot down. And so it seems that any time something Russian gets shot down, it's proof that the war has failed. But that's the cost of those sorts of assaults. So we're going against mechanized. We'll go against soft skinned militia units now. 92217. 2214, no effect. So we're doing a lot more against those. So that's left them 1.7, 4.7. So there's a lot of smouldering corpses in that area at the moment. But that's it. That's all the turns. So it's now the. I'm not going to play. I'm just going to do this Ukrainian turn. So what does that mean for the Ukrainians? I mean, did I set them up too weak? Maybe I should give them a few more units. I mean, for example, they don't have any drones, but we've got lots of anti-tank. Or have we? We've not even got any rockets or air defense. So I really have to go back and actually give them some rockets, some air defense, and some drones. Because it was supposed to be a sort of possibly a stalemate, but at this rate, they're going to just pile over everything. I mean, we can't really attack. The only way we can do anything is by using indirect area fire for aggressive attrition, and we don't really have that. So I'm going to end it there and just have another look at the Ukrainian ones. I do throw these things together, and the reason I sort of play them is to sort of check that they make a little bit of sense. And obviously, the Ukrainians don't have sort of some of the basics, and considering that they're sort of what we might consider in supply, you know, from everywhere else, then we might be able to sort of imagine that they'll have quite a few of those things. I don't think this is actually a very good map. A live map used to be really good for the Syrian civil war, but I don't think it's coming up because it seems to be heavily based on Twitter, and Twitter is not giving any indication of Russian gains. It just seems to be that everything is either Russia blows up a hospital, so as a result of an aerial shelling in Peskovka village of Kiev region, 9 houses destroyed, 1 civilian killed, 2 wounded. You know, hardly really in the Russians' favour. The long Russian military convoy that had been stalled outside Ukraine's capital was now dispersed, says the US satellite company Maxa. Well, it didn't disperse before I managed to make a map of it. Policemen, 2 killed, 2 more persons wounded as Russian troops opened fire during evacuation. See, it's all sort of like, oh, Russians are bad people. You know, there's no sort of like, I don't know, something that would be in the Russians' favour. I'm not saying it should be, but Russian military has been able to move forward, so that's in their favour, I guess. So I should have really maybe looked at this one a bit more. I tend to sort of just jump, but Russian army is starting to move towards. So I did this scenario, and they're sort of going and doing all these, but these are all sort of new things. It's a photo of downed Russian Su-25SM. What's this one? That's the same thing. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Obviously, I've just done that sort of scenario there to give us an idea of what this Makariv front could be, but I think it's going to be a little tougher. It was supposed to be a sort of more of a potential stalemate, and what I did there was supposed to be a sort of a bit too much of forward movement, but it actually looks like quite a balanced scenario if the Ukrainians, you know, have some of the things that I mentioned. So a good go, and maybe edit that, and I'll speak to you later. Cheerio.